What's up YouTube? I'm Brandon from Tattooing 101 and today I'm going to go over the difference between using stamps on Procreate and actually drawing your designs. If you're new to this channel, make sure you like and subscribe down below so you can keep up to date on all the new content we make each week. Okay, so when it comes to digital art, there's pretty much two ways to go into creating tattoo designs, and there is just as many artists out there that do it one way and the other way as well. So there's a lot of artists out there that can't really draw, but they're able to create really great tattoos because of this technology, which I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I do think that having a drawing structure is super important when creating custom designs. If you're going more into realism, it's not necessarily important as long as you know exactly how to do the tattoo efficiently. But as a personal standpoint, I do think it is important to be able to learn how to draw and not use these tools. So in this video, I'm going to break down using stamps compared to learning how to draw on the iPad. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you've probably seen a couple other of my videos as well. So you saw that how I set up everything with my drawings to where I'll start out with 3 different layers and then go through that way. This one, I'm going to show you how to use stamps and a couple different stamps out there that would be beneficial for you to get if you are first starting out and having trouble with inspiration. So I have a ton of different stamps, different brushes on my iPad because I've accumulated them throughout the years. Now, at this point in my career, I only use probably about 4 different sets, but I'll go through the ones that I've used, periodically throughout my career. So if you're getting more into realism, the script sets work really well by BJ Betts. They're pretty awesome. They have 3 different styles on there, so you could pretty much just pick the letter that you want, slap it down, and create your designs that way. That's with lettering. There's also some script stuff. If you're having issues with script, this would be beneficial. It helped me be able to draw and write in script a lot better, just being able to use these as a tool. Now, I don't necessarily just copy these and put on my artwork, which if you do want to do that route, he releases them for you to use, so it wouldn't be an issue, but I like to learn how to do it myself. I don't want to have to rely on these for the rest of my life, so using these as a tool instead of just using them as a crutch will help you out a ton. A couple other ones through here, I have Japanese brush set where you'll have some leaves, some cherry blossoms. I've used these quite a bit. Cherry blossoms, I probably use this stamp more than anything else just because it's really easy to put the stamp on there, and it's a flower that needs to kind of be perfect. There's no real artist twist that you could put on them, so I'll use these quite a bit in my designs as well. Then there's just some random feathers in here. These could be beneficial. If you're just practicing drawing, you could get these stamps and just throw on here. What I would do is turn the opacity down and then create your own design out of these. So don't copy this exactly. If you're using stamps, you want to learn how to draw. So what you do, turn the opacity down, get a different liner set, and still set it up like you normally would if you're sketching. You could do it beside and learn how to draw using these as, kind of your guideline to draw that. Just getting your shapes like this and going through and do the drawing like that. You could use that way, or you could go over top of here and once you practice drawing, you could kind of just do your own kind of style with it over top of it, and it'll change it completely. You don't want to copy it or anything, but you can make your own design over top of these stamps as well. So they can be a great tool to use. I have a ton more on here that I'll work you through so you don't have to go online and try to research all of these. So on the Street 2, Street 3, I have some birds, the suns, stars. Usually you have to go on Google, print them out, but these stamps, they work really, really great. Some crosses, pretty much the main stuff that you're going to be seeing in a walk-in shop. These will be like the streets. Snakes, if you have any questions on these, I definitely recommend you check out my video on how to draw a snake, because these are really cool if you are getting into like neo-traditional, traditional stuff like that. These snake scales are really awesome. They'll save you a ton of time when it comes to trying to set up a snake. Yeah, I have some jewels here, some Aztec rope. I use this one a lot as well. This is a lifesaver, just because rope could be really, really tricky to draw. So with this, all you have to do is pretty much, you know, if you want to do an oval, you just do it like this. Now it's not going to be perfect, as you could see. You zoom in and there's going to be parts to where it goes over the lines and everything. So you still have to go through here and tighten it up, but that is a whole lot easier than trying to draw it yourself. So that's one. If you don't get any of these other ones on here, the rope would be the first one that I probably get, because I use it a ton. Then I have some skull ones, some birds, some whip shading. This one's cool if you're doing like traditional. I don't really use it a ton because I'd rather just do regular shading. I kind of know how my shading is, so I really don't like to use the traditional whip shading stuff. I guess it would be cool to get used to the different sizes and be able to teach you, you know, kind of how that works, but I don't really use those a ton. Some more cherry blossoms, some geometric stuff. This is super cool. You know, if you're doing geometric tattoos, you could just, you know, slap this down on here. You could just do your sheet like that and then print that off and be able to tattoo it like that. And there's a ton of different geometric shapes on here that you could use in your designs to make life a whole lot easier. So all these different stamps just make everything a little bit easier, being able to come up with designs and, you know, creating some cool designs. Another one I use quite a bit would be the hands. You can see on here there's pretty much every single setup for doing a hand on here. If you want it holding something, you can pretty much set it up anyway. I also use a different app for doing hands, which I've also showed in a different video if you want to check that out. That's pretty much how I set up every hand tattoo design, but I do have these just in case I wanted to do it a simpler way. Watches. This is another game changer. This is probably the number 2 that you're going to want to get, because you're going to be doing a ton of watches in your career and you will be using these a lot. So also, I don't like to copy these exactly. I like to change them around, you know, if I'm going to add a crack in it, whatever I got to do. But pretty much the simple basic pocket watch right there, you could slap it down, add some flowers around it, and that is a tattoo design. You know, you could add the custom time on it and everything, and it's super easy, really, really quick. You know, to draw this, it would take me probably a half hour to do the circles perfect, get everything right. So this is one of the ones that I use probably the most. I don't like to use stamps as much as physically possible, but when it comes to doing things perfectly, this is a game changer, and I would definitely recommend using this. The hourglasses are super cool. I wouldn't necessarily use this for a tattoo design just because I'd rather just draw it, but super cool to use as a reference or just to get an idea of perspective. And you could add custom tops, custom insides to it. You know, you could pretty much set it up 100% how you want, and the compasses come with this as well, which will help out a lot as well. So if I have an idea in my head, the easiest way to get it onto my iPad is just to slap some stuff together. So let's say I had an idea of doing a sword and a rose. So I'll just pick a sword, go to a different layer, throw a rose on there, and then in about 2 seconds, I have my idea for a tattoo design, right like that. Now, I'll just, from that point, I'll turn the opacities down, right like that, so I know that this isn't a design I'm going to use. And I just threw this design together just because I had an idea of doing it this way. And then I just throw it on my iPad, and then I'll go back and save this for another day. So from that point, I could just draw it. I'm not going to copy this design and use for a tattoo just because it is a stamp, but my idea is completely down. Everything's pretty much set up exactly how I'd want it to in just about 2 seconds compared to, you know, having to spend 30 minutes to draw. And then I have some Cheyenne cartridges right here. You could use your different liners, 7-round liner, all of those. My liner sets, these are the main ones I use. I use my Sketch Daddy, my technical pen, my digital pen steady. Like them a lot, they work really well. And Murder Weapons 2, Battle Damage, and Battle Damage 2. These are the ones I use for pretty much everything. I've tried just about every brush set out there. You know, I've bought quite a few of them, as you could see. And Dave Tevenall has a really great set. He does a lot of awesome artwork. I actually did one of his seminars, which I showed a drawing that I did with him. Man, I learned so much from him back whenever he would go live and just show how he would draw on Procreate. So yeah, I definitely recommend picking up some of his stuff. He sells it really cheap for what you get, and I pretty much do every single one of my designs with the stuff that he has in these sets. You know, I use his shades, his liners, his sketcher. Everything works really great, and even his like blood splatters and his smoke, you know, his particle smoke works really well. You know, if you wanted to add smoke in this background, this is how easy it is. You just add his particle smoke, and then there's the smoke in the background to add flow to the design. Just that simple. It's super easy. And yeah, I love it a lot. His sets really helped my artwork a ton. So these are my views on stamps versus drawing. Now, by all means, you could just use these stamps right here and create this design without drawing it yourself. There's tons of artists out there that do that, but it's not gonna really show you apart in the industry. And if you try to go get a job, tattoo artists are gonna know immediately if you're using a stamp. Like, I'm sure that I could go on social media right now and find 600 tattoos that use this exact rose, because it's one of the most bought stencil sets probably on Procreate, just because everyone wants to learn how to draw roses but don't want to take the time. You know, I had to spend pretty much a year of my life drawing roses every day to get to the point that I am today. So this makes it a whole lot easy, but I promise you, try not to be lazy with it. Learn how to draw, go through the steps, and it'll be greatly beneficial to you. And also, if you're wanting to learn extra knowledge on how to tattoo, how to draw, all of those steps, I definitely recommend you check out our Artist Accelerator program. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the section below. But as always, I hope this was able to help you guys out, and have a wonderful day.